Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm taking the Honda Navi out, and in Kentucky we just had some pretty massive windstorms, so I figured I'd go for a ride and see if there's what the damage looks like. Took that turn a little bit too haphazardly, but yeah, so I figure I'd go through and just see how many, downed trees or limbs we have, and in some of the areas where there's a bunch of trees. I know that currently there's a lot of power outages, and it's March 5th. But yeah, I know that a lot of my friends and family have mentioned that, or indicated that their power is out. Somehow my neighborhood managed to keep the power on, even though there's a lot of trees. But at least in my neighborhood, everything runs from the back of the houses and the drainage ditch area behind the neighborhood. It runs from there to the back of the houses for power. And the power company had done a bit of clearing of those branches and trees in recent years, so I think that helped things. There weren't as many branches or things to fall onto the power lines. Yeah, so yeah, starting over here in the Highlands, just because I know there's a lot of neighborhoods with a lot of trees. Not seeing a ton down right now. I know that I've seen pictures of houses that were smashed and demolished by trees. Luckily, I think at least in Jefferson County, at least, there weren't any fatalities. It got pretty nasty. Some pretty powerful winds. And if there's a lot of trees that are in relatively bad shape, that weren't all that far away from dying, it's very possible for the tree itself to come down, for huge branches on the tree to come down. So we'll go through here and see what things look like. Some downed stuff right there. That was a full tree. Because I figured some of these neighborhoods will probably have a bit of that. I wasn't sure if any of these roads down through here would be impacted. It's because there's a lot of big trees. This is Cherokee Road. I know that some areas in Old Louisville were pretty impacted. I would assume areas in Frankfurt Avenue probably were too. Just, you know, where you have all the large trees. You know, you just tend to have a bit of wacky weather a lot now. There, yeah, so now I'm turning on Grinstead. And one thing with the Honda Navi that, you know, if you're used to more powerful motorcycles, that might be an issue. Is just, you know, in the scenario earlier, a car was kind of pulled halfway out to the road. You know, with a lot of bikes, you have way more get up and go if you throw, you know, full throttle to get through. So the Navi, you know, it's not quite sport bike or larger motorcycle levels of fast. Taking off from a red light, you can usually get up to speed, you know, just as easily as the average car. You know, the average non-sports car. But your top speed is kind of capped. You know, you can't really do much more over 50. And to do 50 kind of requires flat ground that's either at a decline or flat. And it helps to not have tons of wind coming in your face. Let's see, I'll turn down this street. This is kind of going back to where I was just a second ago, but to the left is the Cherokee Park golf course. So that's where that is. There's all these relatively larger homes that sit up opposite that. I guess I'll just ride through the park, see what it looks like. There's a lot of minor debris on the road on the side here, but that's not all that unusual throughout the year anyway. Yeah, so now I'm back to the red light, or not the red light, the stop sign I was at earlier. Well, people don't know how to take their turns at a stop sign. Shocking. Alright, well, if they don't run me over. Alright, so now entered into Cherokee Park. I was just curious what the park looks like, because I know that before, when there's been less severe wind, there have been downed trees and such. Ugh. This is the other side of the golf course, so this is the entrance where you would go in and rent stuff or handle all that. a lot of small debris on the road, which, you know, is good to avoid, to not get a puncture or a flat or something. Looks like there's some downed branches here. Oh crap, there's a big tree down over to the left. Because I assume that through here, unfortunately, there'll probably be some. Because there's a lot of really old trees through here. Yeah, so down to the left, that's a tree that's down blocking the path. Let's see if there's anything down through here. I mean, I assume at this point, if there's anything major, they probably already pulled it out of the road so it's not blocking things. But yeah, like that's a big tree that got uprooted. I know that, you know, like I said, throughout the city, there's a lot of people currently without power that's currently being worked on. And it's one of those things when, you know, if there's just a specific area that gets hit, then, you know, you can usually expect to have your power back on in not too long. But this storm seemingly hit across the entirety of the city, meaning that, you know, it's not just going to be a quick fix in one neighborhood. There, you know, the power is out in neighborhoods ranging from, you know, the South End areas off Dixie Highway, or, you know, and that out there to, you know, Mount Washington and Bullitt County, all the way out to Prospect and the East End, and just a lot of that is spreading crews thin, and I'm sure it's going to take longer to get that back. I'm sure it's very frustrating if you're without power. And then over to the right, that's the Hogan's Fountain Pavilion. People call it the TP or the Witch's Hat. Now, there's currently debate raging about whether it'll be torn down or not, because it's supposedly structurally unsound and require, you know, estimates that from the city that they had, you know, said it would take about $1 million to get it safe and repaired and back up to safety regulations and guidance. There's a lot of doubt amongst the community that that is accurate and what it would cost and should cost. So a lot of conspiracy theories abound that they want to tear down that pavilion and replace it with something else. And I think it looks cool. I'm sure a lot of families and you know, groups of people use that for gatherings and events. Now going through the middle of the park. See if there's any downed trees down through here. I mean, I would assume not, since it looks like traffic's flowing through, but it looks like a lot of the debris has been cleared from the road. Yeah, so down through here is not looking too bad. Alright, so now we're getting to Alta Vista Road. Just curious if anything was down through this way. All these nice large homes. Yeah, because some of these big trees like you have that are right up here on the left and right, those are kind of primed to see some big limbs dropped off. I guess that's why it's good to have an arborist come in occasionally and check your trees and trim stuff off that could be problematic, keep them healthy. So there's been less stuff down than I thought I would see through this area, or it may just be that a lot of the stuff's been cleared, but there were a handful of big trees that were down. Alright, so I decided to go to some different areas, so as you can see, power down, some trees and such down through here, because there wasn't as much down by the Cherokee Park area. Man, these streets kind of got demolished. This was Hepburn off of Baxter Avenue, kind of close to where it intersects with Barstown Road. So, looks like there's a bit more destruction down through some of these neighborhoods. I know that there's still a pretty big chunk of people without power. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, man, that's a big. It's a big tree that got knocked down. That's huge. It crushed a few cars. That would completely suck to go out in your front yard and see your car completely crushed. And you know, too, especially if it's something where it's, you know, an older car that's paid off and the person doesn't really have the resources to easily go buy a new one, or to buy one in as good of a shape. Yeah, so I guess I'll also ride around through the Germantown and Old Louisville areas and see if there's much noteworthy that happens through there. Alright, so now I'm on 3rd Street in the Old Louisville area, kind of going down towards U of L's campus. Figured I'd check through here, see if there was much that got knocked down. Going through the Germantown area, I didn't see a whole lot of destruction, which is good. I mean, not looking for anyone to have destruction caused to their home or car. Ideally, the storm wouldn't have happened at all, and I'd be talking about something else, but I figure I'd go out and see what different parts of town looked like. Because a lot of trees in this area are pretty old. It looks like most of these held up, which is good. Roads are a little bit bumpy. because the Navi has decent suspension. It's nothing to write home about. But, you know, for the size and the cost of the bike, it's pretty good. As in, it's, you know, the seat, it's not bad comfort-wise. It's not super cushy or anything, but, you know, it's comfortable enough. And the suspension on most, you know, city, street, road conditions, it's not going to beat you to death. I mean, it's not, I haven't really tuned it or anything, or messed with anything, or changed the shocks or any of that, which I know you can do. But it seems, you know, it's not terribly uncomfortable. It's not a super comfortable bike for a long distance ride. So if you want to go 2 hours, it can be a little bit uncomfortable once you get going and get into the get along that ride. But it's definitely by the time I get done with this and I get home, my butt is less tired and sore than if I ride one of the e-bikes for a similar distance of ride. So now going through past UVL's campus. Don't see a ton of trees down through here. And some of this, I mean, there could have been stuff that fell down that was already cleaned up, which, you know, I'm sure is good, preferable for the residents or anybody who has to travel through the area. And this is by the intersection of 3rd Street and Eastern Parkway. This is one of the overpasses that you'll frequently see take out a semi or a box truck. This is another one. And these are neighborhoods I thought would have possibly been impacted as well, just because there's a lot of trees lining the road. So sometimes, you know, even if the full tree doesn't go, just a large enough branch from it can destroy your car or your house. I mean, most of these are closer to the road and not really over the top of houses so much. And I guess I'll go down through here a little bit as well and see what this looks like getting closer to Southern Parkway, because this is going past Central Avenue. So the UVL football stadium is to the left, and then to the right is Churchill Downs, the horse racing track where the Kentucky Derby is held. I guess we'll see what things look like down through here before wrapping up. Because currently in Kentucky it's March, which is still a few weeks away, about a month away, over a month away from the Kentucky Derby festivities kicking off. So it looks like there's some limbs that got downed through here, but I don't see any full trees, thankfully. But yeah, because you know, if you're not from the area, you know, everything kicks off with Thunder Over Louisville, which is a fireworks show in April, and then from then to the Derby, they have a few other events. They have a steamboat race, a marathon, balloon race of hot air balloons. There's a parade in downtown Louisville. There's a few other events that go on. There's something called the Chow Wagon, which is where there are different designated locations where they have food and drink vendors. So it's very common to go and get a few beers and get a funnel cake or hamburgers or hot dogs or, type of carnival fair type food. That's a tradition that's been going on for quite a while. And then, there's other, of course, parties and things that go on throughout the city. Alright, yeah, finally moving again. I'm on Southern Parkway. And this, it doesn't look terribly impacted, which is good. It's a bit windy today, but nowhere near what it was a few days ago. Alright, yeah, so it doesn't look like down through here is too impacted, thankfully. So yeah, so I was taking the Honda Navi out, riding around Louisville, Kentucky, after the windstorm we had, previously, and just seeing what things look like around town, seeing, some of the more heavily wooded areas, what the tree cover looks like, what happened with that, just seeing how things look. But yeah, so that'll be it till next time. Later.